All set, it's recording.
Thank you. So a lot of stuff has happened in the past, was it 3 weeks, I think? 3 weeks, we've done a lot of things, so, there's kind of 3 topics I wanna hit tonight. Me and the interns in depth went through all the other category of the survey results and started trying to create a proposal for 2024 action plan, based on their results, and hopefully with our ideas too, we can kind of put them together. We're also gonna start talking about mapping a little bit, and then lastly, I am shedding a lot. We have started doing some land assessments or property assessments at, I think we hit all of our recreation sites, or at least the main ones that we know about. So we're gonna show that as well. So does anyone have preference? When we go over? All right. Let's go over the land assessments first. I'm gonna share my screen. Okay. Wait, how do I present? It says present in Teams. I don't want to do that.
There's a little thing down at the bottom right. It's like, it looks like a stand.
Oh,
Right
I
next to
can't
the Zoom.
see it because of the thing. Okay.
I forgot to.
Okay, so Sean's intern and Chad basically all went out to 12-ish sites and took pictures of all of our places. We just didn't know like what is good, what's not,
Yeah.
what needs to be improved. And there also was an assessment sheet that I think was more focused towards ADA accessibility in the 2017 plan. And so we reused it. And then also if there was an environmental factor, if there was trails connected to it or whatever, we used the form that you made for Concom.
Oh, nice.
So then it's universal. So intern Sean took a lot of photos, and we don't have to stare at all of them, but he
Yeah, I
did a
took too
great
many
job.
too. I didn't know. I just figured more is better. We can
More
get
is
rid of
better,
it.
yeah, exactly.
I was doing a book report. I would love it.
The teacher would have stopped halfway, like, okay, you got an A. So I'll just briefly go through these, but if you want me to pause on anything, we can discuss. So this is the Primavera School. Yeah, he even like, he was awesome. He like labeled everything. I tried moving the picture once and then I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna mess it up. I'm not gonna touch it. Yeah, so he labeled like handicap areas, playgrounds, the fields. What is the green? Oh, those are probably trails.
Yeah, I think they're like illicit, maybe walking trails, not illicit, but like self.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was another big point too, which we'll probably dig into even more with the conservation land is there's a lot of unknown trails around Bellingham and none of them are mapped.
There's a site that like I thought was like a public trail. It's like not listed as open space.
Really?
Like, it's a true site. A lot of people go there and walk around.
Interesting. Where's that at?
It's you know that I think it's like elderly housing or something. It's like it has like a campy sounding name and
Oh. Going north?
yeah,
Yeah,
it's like behind there near like a well.
Huh.
Oh,
140.
Up by
Yeah.
Probably
Yeah.
Cliff Road area? Yeah.
Maybe.
12 is the one, Off the high street, no.
On that.
Yeah, well, 12 is
yeah,
Cliff Road, yeah.
yep. That's the new, yeah, you're right. It's behind the, that property goes all the way to the back of the United Ave. that trails, with the power lines and then goes all the way behind the Home Depot, right?
Yeah,
Okay, yep. Now I put the pieces.
I don't know if there's a trail back, but yeah, that go through the woods there, it's Home Depot, I guess.
Is that open to public? I don't think it is, right?
Well, no, I mean,
Because that's the water, our clean water, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, so there'd be limited access back there.
Maybe.
Yeah. That's one of our, the new, upgraded valve.
Yeah, it was just
It's
replaced,
processing, right, yeah.
so, yeah,
There may be some dirt bike trails.
yeah. I think it was, yeah.
Is that, do you know if that water works?
My son played baseball a few years ago. I don't think I've ever seen anyone use that.
Oh,
Could
okay.
it be work? I might be. I don't know. I could find out in a second. That's Gary Farrell. She would know.
Yeah, so.
Is that a water fountain?
Looks like a
Popular, yeah.
Bubbler, I leave it like that.
Oh, I can't see better over here. Try to see it on the little one.
Wow, is that made of like a stone wall?
We'll just focus on that the whole meeting. Okay, so yeah, he took a lot of pictures, it's great, so. This was an example of. The accessibility assessment, so, we don't have to go through all this, but it is here, it is complete. And it's just a way that we could prioritize properties.
Yep.
So this is Stallbrook. Which I thought looked decent, so I don't know, like, from a DPW perspective, like. Have any of these had recent maintenance or upkeep, I guess, compared to other ones?
So Stallbrook, I think it gets mowed, but if you look at the outfield fence, it looks like it's the tree, everything's grown into it, so that hasn't been cut back.
Yeah. Oh, I see. what you're
Yeah,
saying.
that field, just from when my son played, we practice there sometimes. It's
Mhm.
kind of just
It's a practice for them, right?
it's there, but it's in tough shape. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know,
So are the tennis courts, like if you keep, I don't know how much this, if it's just the field that we look at too, or if it's. And where's the school line stop? And I asked this question with the Blackstone Street field.
Oh, right.
Where does like the school line stop and the. Town, I know it's all town owned, but
Yeah.
like who's responsible for what?
So anything around Blackstone Field, it's actually, it's run by the, school department. Usually DPW steps in and then whenever they need help, and then you guys usually go take care of them, right? To cut the grass and stuff.
so, yeah, schools does all that
Yeah.
now. That's under the school, basically Blackstone Street Maintenance is school department.
Department, yeah.
But it wasn't
So we
always
would
like
have,
that, right?
no, it was, from what I understand, recent that it kind of switched over.
Used to be the Parks Commission, used to do it, so when the
Yeah.
Parks Commission was a little more active, they used to come and do the maintenance. When Mr. Arkan was, alive, so he kind of, did most of the maintenance. And, so once he kind of passed away, the things have changed a little bit. And, so DPW stepped in and then they started doing the maintenance or helping him out with the school department. Actually, more than a few times last year, I think that Michael Connor, he did cut the grass and stuff,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Is that the same for like when you go to Stallbrook, because it's kind of two spaces, it's like the school plus that, I think it used to be a tennis court / I don't know, everything, so like what? Is that the school department, like, is
No,
that,
Stallbrook would be parks.
it would,
The parks, yeah.
Yeah, that's just for Blackstone
Yeah.
Street.
Yeah, the Blackstone Fields and basically everything, all the permits and everything goes through the school department now. And, other than that, thanks to this gents over here, they kind of take the most of the burden. But it's, say it nice as way as possible. Extra thing on the Sean's plate,
Yeah,
Okay, so then also Clara Macy Elementary School. Some of them I feel like just look better than others, but I mean, the fencing, it's not good here.
Does that get used? Not the playground, but that field, that. it looks like a
Macy's?
softball,
it's
yeah.
used for practices and things now, there was a school there, I feel it was used.
it was more active.
More active, but
It
I
hasn't
think it's
been-
used for practices.
And obviously, you guys watch the news too, so there's some happened there, they kind of vandalized, it's unfortunately, the Macy
Yeah.
Park. So it doesn't look,
I saw
the way it is now, huh?
I saw it on the news.
Yeah, it doesn't look
Bellingham,
it is
that
the
was
way
on
it-
the news?
Yeah,
Yeah, just
kidding me? I
update us
didn't know
with the
that.
pictures probably, doesn't look the same,
That graffiti?
Yeah,
yeah.
Oh.
but the language on a lot of
Right,
the
right.
things was, yeah, but
they're
yes,
looking for
that's
public
it.
help.
You
Hmm,
kidding me? I didn't know that was on the news. Okay.
maybe we should implement a chalk wall for artists. Yeah, yeah. Okay, there's Crook's Corner. Which I like that there's a little library there. I'm not sure what's going on here with this fence. We don't own that fence, I'm guessing.
Yeah. that's a-
Is, we have to look into getting that fixed. I think we do
Okay,
own that, yeah.
okay,
So that came down during one of the storms and, we have to get that back up.
gotcha. That house has a clear, like, shot of the.
They have a
whole
trail.
place.
from the
Yeah.
house to the-
That one's small, so that's pretty quick. And then this is Sean's. So,
Ooh, look how this bird tracks.
Oh, yeah.
he was straight to the point. You have like, these are the pictures.
Just the plots, yeah, one
Yeah.
of the plots.
Yeah. And then Jenks. Can someone tell me, is it with an apostrophe S? Does anyone know? Is it,
I
does Jenks
thought it
own?
was JENCKES.
Oh. It's
Where's
probably
that?
spelled wrong everywhere.
Arcand,
Oh, okay.
There's also multiple, there's like one.
I'll talk about it.
Huh.
It's all named after the Jenks manufacturer.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not like
But,
ownership S, it's like they just.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
like the Jenks family.
Ah,
Also, some Jenks have fields with daughters.
Jenks.
so that trail, does anyone know if that's town? If you go back, you see
This
the
one?
stop sign, the gate, that, and I put it in there. I don't know. It is a trail, a walking trail. I just don't know. When I looked at near map, it's kind of,
I
It's
wonder
like it
if
may or may
it's
not be.
Jenks.
Can you see it in your maps? When you look at it, what does it show in your maps? No?
You don't know what it is, though? No.
do you have
That
anything
is
on
access
the-
to it.
No,
Yeah.
this is just.
Cause the dam would be Army Corps of Engineers. I think.
Yes, this one is. The dam
Yeah,
here,
I'm talking just past it where that swing gate is. It's trail. But I didn't go too far because I didn't know who owned it. And then when I checked some mapping, it looks like it's quite, the lines weren't obvious, so it's
Maybe like a maintenance purposes, not.
for
just-
maintenance or even advertising that there's a trail here.
It may go to the back of the cemetery.
I'm sorry,
Sometimes
The
people. walk
map
the
I
cemetery.
have says town of Bellingham.
it does, so that,
What map are you using?
It's a different map.
Oh,
so that's a
The
perfect.
property map, it tells you who owns the land.
Black County. Open space, because you just see a gate that's locked, so nobody's,
Maybe we
most
should know,
people, they know.
the
Yeah.
deeds.
Probably
Yeah,
not gonna go in.
like.
There's maps.
I mean, or they see stuff and they want to go
Oh,
through.
yeah.
But yeah.
I saw stop and said,
You're a follower.
yeah,
Yeah. I totally
you know what I
agree.
mean? If you had like an open space
They
sign, then
probably
it's, they know right away. like,
Yeah.
It always
it's
gets
a
down
walking
here
trail.
around, so yeah.
Did your daughter think of a
Was
different
that
bird?
deep?
It goes back far.
Oh,
no, I didn't, no.
Yeah, well, it's Blackhawks, so.
I can't in my environment.
Hawks that
line
we
do
see here are
that.
not black. Like, I
They're,
see hawks, but.
the
Wow.
Blackhawks are
no,
technically
it's
in
not
New
like
Mexico and Mexico. That's their like area. Yeah, they're not anywhere near. There's,
They're not in Chicago? No?
no,
You're right.
Imagine that.
there's
I don't know,
lots of other hawks.
She does take a bird ornithology, is that what it's called?
Yeah, ornithology.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a trail, I think, you're right, because it shows on the maps.
Yeah,
Yeah.
is it town property that the trail is on?
Yeah, that's a town property.
So it'd be a perfect thing to have on a map, so it's, people see that
It
it's
might go to the
available.
wells. And rent them.
Yeah, I don't know where it
Close.
goes, we don't
It's
wanna
very
get.
close to.
Okay,
Goes to the cemetery, Rakefield Cemetery.
so that's what you were saying.
About it.
Walk all the way around that, all the way behind the water.
Yeah.
So North Bellingham is the last one on this presentation, but my intern brought up that there's something called North Fields.
That's the Northfield.
That's
Yeah,
the
I think
same?
that's it.
That's the Northfield.
Okay, they have the same name. Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
That's dedicated at soccer field.
Okay.
The soccer field, but you know, it's just due to from my times. And the minimum amount of, you know, so we fixed that how many times, you know, as I said, over the years. Not to fix it, I mean, the graffiti is always there. I mean, not always there, but I mean, you know,
Yeah.
you just clean it
People
and then
always come back.
always unfortunate to say it. Just not too much space out for parking space over there, so it's
Yeah.
about very, very limited use to it.
And I think I might be wrong on this, but our Board of Health person, he grew up here and he said that, isn't it flooded a lot of times?
So not all the field actually closer to that back neighborhood, so when you
I don't know if I have good pictures, but.
so where actually, the bleachers, so this part of the actually doesn't get flooded
Okay,
towards the other end. And if it's like a really heavy rain, and it gets a little soggy,
yeah,
and same as like a lower fields on Blackstone Street. And it doesn't drain really quickly.
gotcha.
So when I used to be around the soccer and then, you know, so all that kind of stuff, we used to have, we used to pay attention to this field particularly as well as the lower fields. If you have a heavy rain, anything like an inch or so, and then the middle part towards the back neighborhood gets pretty soggy, and then you cannot utilize the field. It doesn't drain fast. So it puddles up, and then if you use it, and then becomes basically, you know, you destroyed all that green, beautiful grass.
Yeah, do, DPWs, maybe in other towns, like create a drainage system around fields like this?
Yeah, you do perimeter drains, you do, perforated drain network throughout a field to drain it out if you have a problem, if it's holding water. So I've been involved in field projects where they did that.
Is this still being used a lot? So my son's in 8th grade, so he's been playing soccer.
Yeah.
We've never practiced here. And I feel like when you look at the schedule now, it's almost never used.
I don't know what they're doing. I mean, you know, my days, you know, I try to utilize it as much as
Yeah.
possible because it's a beautiful field. The only problem is it's a parking space.
Yeah.
And then you don't wanna bother the neighbors, you know, to both side of it too. So just, I mean,
It's in a
I would
weird
say-
spot.
it's a great spot, but as I said, you know, you got a limited access to the road. And one car can go at a time, and then it's not easy to in and out,
Hmm,
and then you only have maybe roughly 20 parking spaces. And most of the time, actually, the reason why the basketball quarters looks like that, because you end up parking there. And so it's that exactly what happened over the years. And it's, we kind of looked at it in the past, if we can add it, if anything available around the area, but you know, there are 2 residentials on both sides of it, and there wasn't any option. But if it comes available, now we're looking into this, maybe down the road, one of those properties, and then. I mean, it wouldn't be a bad idea, because that's a beautiful spot,
yeah,
because it opens up to, you know, it's 2 different neighborhoods. There's a small trail, just the neighbors they kind of use.
Yeah.
And then one of them actually cuts through the Pilgrim Village, other one basically goes to the Chase Street. And it's actually nice, you know, it's and there was something. Not utilized properly,
It's a perfect spot to put a walking trail
Yeah.
around the outskirt.
yeah.
It's perfect, would be perfect for that.
I mean, it's, as I say, if my knee doesn't bother me and the weather's nice, I usually, you know, so I try to go in and kick the ball around, you know. You know, try to utilize it as much as possible, but I don't think it has been utilized over time.
Yeah,
Because
I haven't
there's
seen it
like
on
that-
this, I haven't seen on the schedule, like, you know, they have the practice schedule for everybody. I don't think the last couple times I've seen anyone.
Yeah, the only thing is, as I said, because when you schedule it like back in the days when I was around,
Probably more teams too, I mean.
you cannot do 2 teams back to back because you gotta do it, you gotta give enough time. One team actually leaves, another
Yeah.
one actually comes in.
Yeah.
So it just to do access.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the reasons that people didn't request it as much too.
And on the other hand is, I mean, this is it, our town is long town, and it's from one side of the town is, you know.
Yeah.
that's a half an hour to go.
This is a little more centrally located down here, yeah.
Yep.
In Blackstone.
Yep, it's a perfect field to do something with. I mean, you'd hate to see it get no use. I
Yeah.
mean, you could
Yeah.
really do a lot of good,
Like, if
I
it's
mean, the
in-
basketball court wouldn't be, there's a lot of things you could do that are not, I don't think would be overly expensive to
Right,
make that more of a draw.
Especially with all the neighborhoods right there.
Right.
Nice neighborhood.
You would redo the basketball court, put a walking trail around the field. 'Cause I would guess it's a quarter of a mile one time around, maybe not, I don't know.
Yeah.
But either way, it's nice.
I
It
mean,
is
it's
nice.
11v11 field, and then, you know, so when we designed it, and when I was the president back in the days of soccer, and, so when I usually set the field, you know, it was a 11v11, and then we could do two, 6v6 or 8v8, the way you actually kind of do the field. And that's why actually those kind of goalposts, you know, the where they are. And we kind of rotate a little bit, and then I did run a lot of trainings with some of the local clubs, as well as New England Revolution, and back in the days with the GPS, the Bolts, so forth, so on. And so that's the thing, you know, that we utilize it with, but I kind of like your idea. I mean, it's a great property.
Are there
Yeah.
other soccer fields? Like, what is your son
So
utilizing?
Blackstone, at the Blackstone Street field, that's what they typically.
So
play.
there's
Yeah.
only one other major
Yeah.
soccer field?
Yeah, there's multiple, like, there's a multiple there,
Okay,
like, you can do two full-size fields up
Yeah, you
top.
got two 11v11, and then you got the football practice field.
Yeah.
They usually tap into that. The lower fields are, as I said, you know, something, you know, you cannot really bank on it because it always get flooded,
Yeah.
especially in the spring.
yeah,
And that's in rough shape, the grass down there is, upper
Yeah.
field's pretty good, the lower
Because
fields
it
are.
drains really nicely, you know, it's lower fields that get flooded all the time.
Hmm,
You gotta use it for the younger kids. I mean, that was the plan years ago.
that's been good money.
You don't mind.
I mean, the less
Yeah.
impact on them too, you know, something, you know, the versus, you know, it's an 8 or 9 or 10 graders, you know, something they run around the field. And then, you know, you got 6, 8-year-old running around the field, it's two different thing, you know?
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
Okay, these are Chad's photos.
All of them,
All of them,
you can skip.
but I like I like the collage, the collaging that happens here.
Yeah.
So this is,
Yeah, I was looking at this one, this is good.
yeah, see.
Nice mix.
Town Common. This was the most visited out of the survey, so, and the, besides SNET was also like the most complimented, so, that's good news, and it's probably a good role model for other places as well, in terms of what people like and want.
Does this have, I'm always told that there's a lot of senior volunteers that volunteer time at this.
Yeah,
Like
so it's
maintain or-
What do they
town
do?
common, you know, it's
They plant
Michelle.
flowers?
yeah, they do a lot of, they have actually the town common, as you know, it's they have their own town common trustees, they kind of take the initiative quite a bit, and our town club is actually, you know, it's in one of those, they do quite a bit, yeah. At least straight Friday.
And then this is High Street, you added these too? Or did you?
I did, they were on the other one too, it's hard to see them.
Oh, okay.
I didn't put a.
Oh, there they are, yeah. Very
So
nice.
this is actually a kind of love, you know, this area. High
Yeah.
Street too.
It's a great, so I went down the trail and everything, the trail's awesome, like, it's underutilized, that's
Yeah.
definitely a space. The softball fields are in tough shape, like, that facility is in tough shape.
Yeah.
All the way around, it's got washed, that field one, it just washes away like into the woods. Because of the way it's pitched and everything like that, the outfield is the whole thing, I was on the softball board at one point.
Yeah.
And we did, you know, you do so much work there, but it's almost like you just keep doing work and it gets slightly better, but it's just like shoveling stuff against the tide. That would be a great place to, if you're gonna restart over and kind of redo that, it is a great spot because of where it sits and goes to the Blackstone River. And I know there's talk of a dog park up here. I
Yeah.
don't even know how far, like, the property line goes, you guys would know that better. When they were talking about the dog park, they talked about making parking down High Street because you could access it from a different spot, but, it is a really, what's that?
Kind of wonder how artificial turf is there.
So because I'm a glutton for punishment, I'm on the fields committee for the school, and my wife says stop volunteering for stuff, but, one of the conversations we're having there is on the upper fields, like where those, is to create one that's there that's a multi-use thing, so you could do, if you've ever been to like Hopkinton or Medway, they use, it's a softball field, but it's also a soccer field, you could do football on it. It's kind of a bigger space, so. I'm not even sure if you need to put turf here, because I think so much stuff is so centrally located. Down here, and if you have one and you have one next to it, you have a better chance of maybe renting that out. But it could definitely use a, I don't know, it needs a lot. They put some new fencing in, but everything else isn't. They
Does
did
that
a
mean
long
in
time.
Probably
fact
needs-
that, Like all the fields facing each other, like do people just be in other people with balls all the time? Like,
Well, the other risk is if they're the other way, then you're hitting foul balls into other fields. So it actually, that part works fine. The parking lot is in bad shape. Like,
what
This-
parking lot?
yeah, it's really, you actually can't tell where the parking lot stops and the fields begin.
Yeah.
There is fencing on the outside of some fields. And I think when they first put this in, it was probably a nice facility, but it's just over time, like, there's less numbers in softball, less people want to volunteer for stuff, so.
Do you feel like there's a need to have this many softball or baseball fields in Bellingham? Or,
So I think if you ask Carrie Farrell with youth baseball, she'd tell you she could use 2 more baseball fields. I think if you could multi-purpose this a little bit more, and have it be kind of, I always thought baseball and softball should try to combine and work together. That happens in other communities, that you could use both the South School, what's it called now? DPH, sorry.
Yeah.
Use that complex and maybe use this kind of, together, but this would need some
I mean,
work.
I kind of like the idea, and it's, if you kind of put little time into this, redo it, and then you can actually turn to the multi-use fields too.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be just the baseball and softball, you can actually do, lacrosse or soccer, it's obviously, if you create that, because this is, I mean, it's almost like a center location too.
Yeah,
It
this,
will be easy access to pretty much everyone in town.
yeah, you would have to reorientate everything because like even field 1, which has the biggest outfield, it is fenced in and you would not be able to fit like a soccer field on there. The only one that's not fenced in is Lewis, which is the one closest to the trail. And that's like tight in all the trees, like you can literally hit a fair ball into a tree, if you can believe that. Cause I just think over time, it's like every trees are just,
Yeah.
you keep growing, so.
yeah,
But it is a great spot. I do think it's completely underutilized. If you were gonna redo a whole place, I think this is probably where you start in town, although I think you'd have to do way more to this than you would to the north fields.
And, if I recall, we have one of our wells behind that too, right?
well,
Well,
Oh,
I thought there was one well.
well, 12 is not far from there, yes, a potential future well.
It's over here, right?
It is near there,
Just
yeah.
it's
the-
right,
the
right
east-
into the parking lot, right?
Yeah.
Right around this area.
Yeah, so if you see where it says High Street Complex
Here or somewhere.
down, yeah, there'd be an
Yeah.
easement that runs through and a trail, so yeah, there would
That's
be.
a big, huge water capacity too, as well as like a 12. If I
Yeah,
remember
wells on
correctly.
Cliff, yeah, so
12 is
that,
out that way, yeah.
yeah.
I may be wrong, but there's actually another trail here that when we first met at that site where they were dumping, and I was like, this is
Oh,
actually a
yes,
trail.
yes, from
It's
Fifth
right
Ave,
here,
from Fifth Ave, yeah.
right?
Oh,
We
really?
Came out right here.
But again, I think it seems like it's one that just kind of was created,
I've never seen that.
right, so
Yeah.
it is, which I gotta get back on that one.
Yeah, we'll get, I feel like we'll do that with
That's
this.
part of all of
Yes.
it.
So
yeah.
do we know how far like cause there's also down the street is the, I sent you like this, Blackstone, not the conservative, and you said it was state?
Charles River.
Watershed association?
Yeah, and like there's parking for that right down the street from this.
It was something,
Oh, yeah, the.
Wildlife
one
management?
Wildlife,
wildlife.
wildlife management, that's actually close towards the bridge.
Yeah, okay.
You're close towards the bridge.
So I just wasn't sure like how much property is the town's from when you go down. Obviously, no property lines.
There's probably quite a bit of chunk probably.
Yeah,
behind
it's a-
that because. We
I feel like
might be
that's
able
our
to
best
see it
place.
actually on that,
I think we.
that paper
applied it.
map over there.
Is that the Corps of Engineers, that's all the well.
Okay, that makes sense.
I think
So that's the parking lot. So there-
it's a good idea
Yeah.
to focus for one, I know it's a little early in this stage, but, thinking like a good goal to have for our action plan might be to increase like availability of space where people could access abutting like places that are already developed, you know, like Franklin Forest. And like I saw some DCR Park is like on our north end or like northwest end. Like make sure people can have access to that because we don't have space.
Yeah. So like
Sorry, we're 2 miles
connectivity,
wide, like, what can we do? And half of us is a river, so.
yeah, that's a good point. Remind me to add that to, I'll show you guys the Excel sheet that me and the interns have been working on, and I can add that.
So that's just the runoff on the back of field 3. You can see like all the
Okay.
infill gets,
Yeah, it looks like some.
and then underneath, it's actually, you can see where the concrete slab is. It's, I don't know how long, so it's gonna stay up, but.
It's 100% fenced in?
No, so it's fenced into like the corner. See how that
Okay.
goes to the corner?
Okay.
It's, that's all leaning, but that's the field. That's the outfield. right there.
Okay.
So you can see it's in rough.
This get flooded too, right? It's like it gets pretty wet, right? When
Which field? It depends on the field there, like, Lowry, which is closest to the snack shack thing.
Yeah,
That's not too bad. That probably drains the best. This field 3, field 1 or 3. I always call it field 3 and I feel like it's field 1. Field 1, it's the third field there. That's not the
I don't
town.
know.
That one gets wet and it all drains off, like
Yeah.
literally all the infield, you have to keep replacing it and then it just drains off into the thing, so. But this is that's the trail.
Oh, so this must have been a Boy Scout something,
Oh, so there's a.
because.
Yeah, that's a really cool spot. I actually enjoyed doing that part of it. I enjoyed all of it. But this is a really cool walk and there were no
Okay.
mosquitoes, which is nice this time of year.
Did you walk the whole thing?
So I went to the end. It started, there was some property, personal property there.
Yeah,
Residential, I should call it. And I didn't know how far it could go.
yeah.
There's the picture on the bottom right, there's a train track on the other side of this.
Oh.
And so I don't even know I didn't even know where I was. And then when I looked on the map, it didn't make any sense to me and I didn't have any great detail, so, cause I didn't see,
Why would there be a red there?
there's Blackstone River goes right through that.
Yeah.
It
Oh.
actually says, but I can't figure out where I feel like I was near 4th and 5th. I feel like that.
Like
yeah,
over
that-
here?
Fourth and fifth is always, you know, it's like those are really close. Cause that kind of lowers all the way down to the 126, right?
Yeah, I think, I
Yeah.
couldn't tell where I was, so,
Yeah.
and I didn't wanna start
Probably-
walking into people's backyard.
When you drive on 126, actually, as soon as I think when you pass that overpass, there's a house on the right.
Okay,
Before you head up on the ramp, I
Yeah.
think you were on the other side of it,
okay.
up on the hill, I think that's where it was.
Who's like putting the flyers in there? Did you notice who?
No, I can probably zoom in, maybe, I don't know. I just took a
The
picture.
kiosk does, yeah, but the papers inside, it looks somewhat. I'm wondering if there's a group coming out there and regularly changing those or who.
Let me look at my photos.
Yeah, I feel constructed well, like.
It's preserved, maybe.
Weather
The reason why I was
Like I
wondering how far you went is if the trail markers went with it.
So yeah, so there's red little trail markers like
Yeah,
that.
did it
as you
go all the way?
And it went as far as, and I didn't see them at a certain point, but it looked like trails still went.
Okay.
But there were a couple houses there, so I just stopped. I stopped kind of at this, there's like apparently there's a video that I linked in one of the things that I did. There's a
Yeah.
lady who's walked this whole thing. And there's a bridge, if you look up there, there's like a bridge that kind of looks like the one thing above it. I don't think it's made by the Army Corps of Engineers. But if you look up the water there, there's supposed to be
Oh,
like
that's
a,
right.
yeah, and in the video, she's like, I don't feel comfortable walking across this because it's got like slats and nothing and then slats, so. I think you can keep going and go across it, but I did not.
You might be Boy Scouts, because Boy Scouts, they do a lot of, you know, it's the projects around town.
Yeah, let me.
And they do like in bad houses and everything, you know, it's you might be one of those projects.
So one thing Hannah, like we talked about, is having some sort of open space sign. So people come up and they know it's Town of Bellingham Open Space Trail.
So they don't get nervous about going into.
Yeah,
people's
or
properties.
whatever, it's just, and then having all of them mapped along with the places we've been inspecting. And just kind of constantly updating that as we find trails and new places and having this like open space sign.
Well, we
Yeah.
want to be careful with finding trails in new places, that it's not like someone's personal, like, access to our property. yet,
Sure, yeah.
Because then that could be like, illicit dumping.
Mm,
We want to direct their own personal recreation to our public paths.
Yeah, instead of, not necessarily like going and just hunting for trails, but, as we come across things, and we do know, if we know their town, or like you said, that it's like private property leading into something else.
I like that
It would
stop
be
sign
kind of
area.
like work, and, yeah,
Yeah, like,
exactly,
hey, you can go over.
yeah,
Yeah.
like that doesn't, that's not inviting.
To know why it's closed.
yeah.
Right, cause it's not wide enough for a car as you get in, so,
This is, I zoomed into it. This was a Eagle Scout project in 2015.
Okay.
By Sean Bodie, Bellingham Conservation Commission, Charles River Trail, and then there were 3 troops that got involved, Walpole, Bellingham. And this is 2019.
That's actually a nice trail, as I remember, it's, me and a couple of my friends, we used to actually walk around right, between the lower fields and.
Oh, but the high school, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's actually a nice trail. You cut through over here, it's, up the lower fields,
Yeah.
when you look at it on the arrow, the yellow arrow.
Yeah,
And, that's actually a really nice trail.
It is a good spot.
Yeah, it's a good spot.
And they're adding in at the on those fields, they're adding in a path
Mhm.
that goes around. Mike Cobb's telling me that has, so you can actually walk to each field without it, you're not being on a field. I don't even know how to explain this, but there's some money that they got. Mike Connor can
Yeah.
describe this way better than
It's under the master plan, yeah.
massively.
Yeah.
And it's gonna happen soon.
Yeah.
Because when we talk about the fields, we talking about handicap access, because if you have to go to lower fields and you're in a wheelchair.
I mean, hopefully, it's, once if it takes off, all this, the way it looks over here, it's gonna be all changing anyway, The lower fields, 126, even all this area, it's not gonna look the same, obviously, it's probably, you might have seen the
Yeah,
plans for it.
yeah.
And,
oh, that's middle school.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm ending your conversation.
Yeah.
We're
yeah,
moving to
actually, they're
middle school.
connected, so that's the,
Oh,
basically,
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I said I didn't know where things stopped,
Yeah.
like which so I just kind of included.
Yeah,
There wasn't much really here in the middle school. There's nothing much at the schools themselves, I
okay,
guess from our perspective, it's more the fields.
and this is what you were talking about.
yeah, that's the high fields and that's the lower fields right here.
Okay,
So the
Bigger ones.
the arrow is,
Upper
that's,
fields.
we call them lower fields.
Yeah.
And that actually, especially right over here is fine, but when you get a little more closer over here.
Yeah.
On this edge, close to the baseball diamond too, it gets, I would say probably,
what is this?
Is that someone?
Oh, that's someone's house. Oh, okay, I wasn't sure because it looked like
There's a house
circular
sit
there.
Way back in.
Okay,
Yeah, and I mean, the fields here, like, maybe, like the 2 softball fields up top there near the middle school are in really rough shape, the one that's. Down here,
Yeah.
and this time of year, everything doesn't look great anyway, right? 'Cause this time of year, the
Right.
baseball field on the way bottom, it's not even. They don't really use it.
Mm,
So this is right behind the middle school. The 2 fields directly behind. There's a bunch of just stuff in the woods. That's what
yeah, that's actually storage trailers are back there too.
yeah,
So right, actually, when you continue from here, but once that plan, so there was a master plan, it's the whole mapped out.
Yeah.
So it's the reason why, they are not really putting a lot of maintenance on these over
mhm.
the years too, because this is gonna be completely changed once it takes up. And then once everything is up and running,
Oh, okay,
once the project starts. And, I don't know how soon would that be? But
Yeah,
when it goes, so basically this is gonna be completely changed because everything is gonna be based on all that lower fields. Back to the trailers and then basketball courts.
Yeah.
Diamonds, baseball diamonds, they're gonna be,
yeah.
They're
there's
gonna
2
build a
plans.
big
I think we
Yeah.
we finalized on one. I don't know how quickly it's gonna happen. You're still talking about
yeah.
a good chunk of money. They're trying to phase it in, but.
Do you guys, does DPW normally use sand for playgrounds?
That's.
Oh, that's
So on the,
under like the slide and stuff, that's mulch?
That's mulch.
Oh, it just looks like sand, okay.
That's actually the sign that's supposed to go on the wooden things on the left. And at first I was like, oh, that looks like a weird pad, and then I realized that the sign came down probably in the swamp. You can see the-
Okay.
I gotta
Are
tell,
you sure
pictures
it's
are
not?
really nice, but when you look at it, it's kind of a little heartbreaking,
Yeah.
Some of
Yeah, I
the-
mean, and this is not 1 year of,
Yeah.
like, this is just kind of, and
Yeah.
having been on, and like softball boards and help out
Yeah.
with lacrosse, you're like, and this is, every year I've asked the question, I actually went to a recreation commission meeting a long time ago, and
Yeah.
everyone looked at me strange, it's like, we don't really have there's never been like a plan, like, are we gonna fertilize things, are we gonna, like, that's never been part of it, and that's all, like, when we talk about putting new fields at Blackstone,
Yeah,
I always say, if we can't maintain them, let's not put the money into it,
yeah, you're right.
right?
Yeah.
If you don't have this, if we don't have the staff to do it, then we shouldn't put it in, or we should put turf in that takes less maintenance. Because it gets to the point where I walk this area all the time, because I live there, and it just gets a little discouraging, to be honest with you. Because it gets passed off, right? Oh, it's DPW, no, it's the school, we did this, you did that, it's like,
Yeah.
no, it's all one town, like, it should all be. It would take, to get all that stuff out of the, I'm thinking it could be a senior project, like, all right, let's get all this stuff out of the woods, that looks terrible, there's a car over near High Street, there's these old things that we could fix in 10 minutes,
That
so.
car's been there probably 50 years.
Yeah, I know, it's
Behind that
just,
trail goes to the power lines, right?
which one?
Which one,
Oh,
behind
there's
Blackstone
no
Field?
car?
No, High Street, there's one, there's one behind, there's one on Blackstone Street too.
Oh
It
my
just,
God.
it just, I
You
feel
don't, you
like,
don't usually see it all the way to the winter. Once the winter hits, it's unbelievable.
Yeah,
You see
yeah.
it. You see it.
find
So-
That's where you find them. That's actually so funny you just said that because I just saw one car. It's right on Medway line, so after they did the clear around the power lines on the right. And I didn't even know that, I don't think anybody knew there was a car there. It's been there probably at least 50, 60 years. Right on Bellingham Medway line, the power lines, they cleared it and I think there was a little flooding that.
Oh,
time.
yeah, as if you're leaving Bellingham?
Yeah, leaving
And on the
Bellingham.
right?
Right on the right, it
There's a
actually.
car in there?
That was, I just saw it, I mean, that, I don't
Is
know,
there
a couple months ago,
Really?
quarter mile in.
Yeah.
That car's been there for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
They just cleared that area and then I think, it's just discovered that, I mean. looks
Oh,
like
they didn't put a
they shut it.
historic sign up for it?
it'd be a Model T.
One time I dug up a Model T and tested it.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
So I guess the point of this is like, it does look like doom and gloom, but it's like, all right, if we do something, let's have a plan to maintain it after that, because it's like throwing money at something that you're not gonna maintain, you wouldn't do that at your house, so.
I think, I mean, this goes beyond just us
Yeah.
too, like, this would be something that the school department could get state and or federal funding to. And I think maybe part of what our committee should include is making other divisions, other town departments aware of that and helping them like figure out the process to get that funding and do those projects.
And just clearly delineating what needs to get
Yeah.
done and why, like that, no one should be playing on that thing. I'm
Yeah.
picturing a kid with a leg in there, but
Yeah.
Is there a carpentry class?
there was a town carpenter.
Oh,
What?
Yeah, we do.
my high school had a carpentry class.
Yeah.
I'm like, instead of building little benches, why don't we just like send the kids out here?
Yeah. I just think if we get like a master list and we can say, all right, Blackstone Street Fields, what are we doing there for fertilizing? Who does,
Yeah.
like, what's that cost and get that whole picture. And then you do this all the time. And again, it's not one person's job.
I,
It's-
I kind of like that idea, I mean, I love the idea, to do, put an action plan together. Get, just beside us, obviously we got the DPW here. And we don't have a Parks Commission, but we need someone or somebody taking in charge, can,
An action plan?
I mean, we're doing it, but I'm just saying, no, I'm just saying like, some bullet points, some of the things are. And then,
Mm-hmm.
we can just list it down and then get the youth sports too involved.
Yeah.
But we cannot just rely on, DPW on that, it's obviously, we have a little hole there.
Yeah. We don't have.
It's
a
not really
parks.
fair to Sean, I'm calling the guy for like 5 times a day at least,
We don't have a park and recreation. That's part of the issue.
Yeah, that's one of the things, but I mean, if we get that somehow with the school department.
Yeah.
Obviously, we trying to put the action plan together and then bullet points. And then we did DPW, maybe we can get some grants, there should be something out there available. But what I'm saying is, we might need to reach out to maybe Mr. Morano, maybe somebody at the school department too.
Yeah, and I'm
Get
happy
somebody
to
in
bridge
the-
that between like the fields that we're trying to do at Blackstone. When we
Yeah.
originally met, I was like, why don't we look at all of them? Like, look at the ones down there, South Elementary, DPH, right? DPH are like, we have Northfield, we have all these groups, but we're only focusing on the Blackstone Street ones. Why don't we do it?
Yeah.
Yeah, even like Northfield, there's one, like we talked about, doesn't really get used. You got basketball court, there's a lot of things that could be done
Yeah,
to use it.
I mean, it's just like it's simple, as I said, it can be just clear, it doesn't have to be like, huge dollar amount, It's, the one thing I said it, I mean, it's the Bellingham is, I always believe in Bellingham, when it comes to that, when we usually, I mean, over the years. When I'm involved, obviously you did, all of us did in certain levels, when we usually reach out to the community. We say, someone, we need help, and then we trying to accomplish this, people, they usually come forward. I think if we can put a list together and then put the ideas together, which we're doing it now. And then if we ask for it, and I think people will step in. Absolutely.
Just have to force them. You just say, hey,
Yeah, I
I need
know,
you to do
yeah.
this. It's not like show up on Saturday because they don't, this is field cleanup. Come to field cleanup, 3 people show up. Next thing you know, you're on the board if you show up to that.
It's a
So-
baby steps,
I'm not kidding.
It's baby steps,
Yeah.
Okay, so segue to action plan. This is what me and the interns started creating, literally in the past 48 hours, like,
Awesome.
well, we've been doing all of these. These are each question, every comment, organizing them. You guys can all view this, by the way. If you're ever wondering if there's specific comments about trails, like I have a list of all of those. But this is kind of like phase 1 of what do we do with all those comments?
Mhm.
So, just for example, just because we were doing the land assessment for, athletic recreation sites, I kind of like went through and did like the first level of it. So I basically categorized it, subcategorized it, and these were things that people need, want, but so like, for example, multiple recreation properties in Bellingham need to be updated or improved, flooded fields, parking lots, rusty playgrounds, graffiti. And then just starting with the beginning steps of what do we, I think the problem with the 2017 is they just like said like, this needs to be improved, and then there was nothing after that.
And like, they were like, this is already good about a lot of things that weren't.
Yeah,
And it's like, well,
exactly.
the point of this is to be eligible for funding to fix the things that you
Yeah.
can on, so.
Right.
I know, like, they
Exactly.
exist.
Yeah, so, these steps, for example, that I just created, thinking through, are the steps that we would need to like start that process, and probably in each of these steps, there's sub-steps. And the one thing I did like about, I'll say, the 2017 is they put in who's involved, which, I put these in at the moment, but I'm hoping that people will help me, if there's other, stakeholders, help me fill that in. This is just me putting theoreticals in, but I was like, this is how many properties we have. This is probably what a timeline could look like. And then I'm assuming this is gonna be expensive as a whole. I mean, it depends on what each property needs, but so then I kind of ranked it that way. This is expensive, and then here are the list of places. And then I think this is gonna be really important for putting in the plan, and then applying for grants is the why factor. So I just like wrote quick little bullet points there. But I'm hoping to do this for each thing that we are planning to act upon. So we can like briefly look at some of the topics right now if you want. Or you guys could take your time and really look at it, and we can talk about it at next meeting, but these are essentially the things that people in town are begging for.
And this was on the survey,
Uh-huh.
okay.
Well, essentially, so someone would comment saying like, we really need pickleball because all of us wanna play pickleball, but we always have to go to other towns, why don't we just like keep it in our town? And so I just like categorize all those comments about pickleball as great pickleball.
Yeah.
Are these by, how much people commented, or are they just not in any?
This last one,
So like for instance, athletics slash recreation was,
no.
programming was third or no? Pecking order, or you just,
You
you see
know,
what I mean?
yes, I do. The column A is just alphabetical.
Yeah.
Column B, is based on what cause I read so
Yeah,
many.
sure, yeah.
So whatever was like in my head repetitively, I
Yeah.
did first, so kind of.
Yeah, I'm not looking at statistical analysis.
Yeah,
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of.
whatever you saw. in the post, yeah.
Programming was brought up at least a couple times,
And are they talking about like, cause it says who's involved, you're not gonna do programming at the DPW for,
well, so
probably be,
technically that would be like a Parks and Rec thing,
right,
which
which if you go further down, it's on there, isn't it?
I have here
Yeah.
as the number one thing for parks.
Yeah.
Which I did not fill out, cause I know that's a loaded one,
Yeah.
but,
I mean, there are some alternatives for that too, like getting like a DCR space that they can manage.
what do you mean?
Like if they had a park in Bellingham, they would manage it. And we might not be involved, but it would be managed.
They as in citizens?
DCR.
Oh, DC, oh, okay.
I think in this case, we're talking about like who's gonna run Pilates on Tuesday night at the, Primavera School, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yes.
Yeah,
Who's doing the outdoor outdoor pickleball thing on
Right.
Thursday nights
Right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in Medway, they have a park and recreation department, in Franklin, they have a huge one. Who organizes all that stuff, and they're part of, I think they work with like the DPW on like maintenance of things and stuff like that, so. I think that's part of the thing we're missing, and one of the reasons that this stuff kind of falls by the wayside is no one's coordinating that. It's more like, hey, I thought you were supposed to do it. Oh, no, baseball take care of it. No, softball people are supposed to do that. That's,
but there almost should be one overarching, like athletic or recreation.
yeah, right. I mean, we have an athletic director for for schools, but that's a little bit different. Works a lot.
Right.
I was an athletic director at one point. I worked a lot with the recreation department when I worked in those towns.
Mm,
Because you share fields and, you know,
Right.
maintenance of those fields, and, but there was always that point person that was in charge of it, and I think that's one of the things we're so severely lacking. The Pilates on Tuesday and the whatever, like, that's not hard to do. People, if they like doing pickleball, will organize that, like, you'll get people to do that, and you run things that you make. If they pay $10, it pays for it, you know what I mean, so,
I was doing stuff for work and was reading about another town that had a community center that was an old school that they converted into a community center.
Yeah.
They have like older than average population, so they did school anymore. And then they appointed someone from their school department to run the community center. And so she was like the community center head and like organized all these things.
yeah,
They even got like a company similar to like Pearson who writes the educational.
yeah.
They would like give trainings there, like college. It was pretty cool. I was impressed.
I think there's a huge potential there. You have to create a new department, which.
So there has been discussion about that, right? On the DPW side internally, about having,
Well, we've just,
Trying to
yeah, I mean,
create a budget for it?
we've talked about if we could potentially get a couple full-time park staff, what we
Yeah.
could do with that. So yeah, there's been some discussion, but not like a in depth. I know we're hoping to get at least one parks member potentially full-time, but yeah, of course, we have talked about different ideas for things and how we would kind of what you said, maintain them. It's great to do the project, but it has to be maintained.
right,
Or it's over time, it's just gonna fall apart. So there needs to be that part of any plan that has to be talked about. How it's gonna be maintained. Because it has to be regular. I mean, you have regular things to do, spring, summer, fall, seasonal. On a regular basis, cities.
yeah,
And if we're, potentially even doing trail maintenance and things like that for the future. it has to be done regularly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think you can rely just all, oh, get volunteers to do that,
Yeah,
get
that's.
volunteers. And I think that's what's happened. I know with softball, it definitely is. They maintain, outside of cutting grass, it's always been like, you gotta do. Pretty much, and baseball has someone who is a fields person who does ridiculous. amounts
Yeah,
of
so they're
work.
fortunate they got. they
Yeah,
have
but if you
someone
don't have that, then it's. It falls into disrepair.
Yep.
I mean, we've put in irrigation at the softball field that. With headlights on and things like that.
Selectmen out there mowing the lawn.
Yeah, yeah.
You did a pretty good job, I'll tell you that much, you know.
A brush hog all the way around the outside of it.
Yeah.
For
He
10
was
hours.
certain, that's why we're getting a new lawnmower.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I guess my question around the Parks and Rec idea, like actually being a real thing, it just impacts so many other things that the town needs. And so if that one doesn't happen or attempt to happen, a lot of these other things kind of get nixed.
so is that something that comes out of like this, and you would know this, I'd be in the select board, is that something where like this group would make that recommendation? Like we've looked at everything and said, we don't really have a point person for this. And it's, we look at all the other communities around us and we do.
So he brought that up, probably you witnessed it as well, you know,
Yeah.
so it's
I've been-
definitely, there was a hole, and there has been a hole. And, I brought that up and then a few others did. And, I think, you know, with this now, we definitely see there is a huge needs for it. And, just put some of the things together, you know, it's obviously get the grants, they deal with the school department, use DPW's help. And I think, you know, we can put all the ideas together and then, you know, we can present it to, I don't see why not.
Yeah, and I'm happy, I mean, the Rentham rec director is a friend of mine, like I know other rec directors would be nice to be like, all right, what? Give me a list of like all the stuff that you do. It's not just someone sitting there going, yeah, run that, that's good, you should do this.
I can get that from Medway too.
Yeah, they have a lot of work on their plate,
We
so.
do, I mean, there's a lot of work, I mean, it is, we kind of inspired by that short park, you know, some of what they did over there.
Yeah.
And I was saying that, you know, it's, I mean, you know, not too long ago, that was 15 years ago, you couldn't have been getting to that, park.
Yeah,
I mean, finally, they put the ideas together, they got the grants, they put some of the pieces together. Now actually you have an access from 126 to the parking lot instead of going all around the neighborhood and come back the other way. So there are things can be done,
yeah.
and I think, you know, we definitely moving in the right direction. And I think, you know, we found out there is a need, and there is a huge hole. And to put the pieces together, and then, you know, somebody needs to take the lead. And so who might that be? And I kind of said it many times. As far as, you know, it's obviously you guys taking the most of the burden, you know, it's anything goes around town, but I don't think it's really fair. You know, it's, I mean, needs help.
I mean, there's no way for like one department to have all those skills.
Right,
Well, it
It's-
can be, but I mean, you know,
it's
it
only
needs
possible.
someone, you know, it's obviously, you know, assist
Have
you
to be
with
like
that.
1,000 years old. That's like 1,000 years old.
Knowledge.
The wisdom, exactly. But even for the grants, like we
Yeah.
could use that, so. There's probably tons of money,
Yeah.
I'm guessing, out there
Yeah.
for fields and
Yeah.
trails and this and that.
Community.
And I wouldn't even know, I could Google it, but it's, we need like someone that's really good. At finding grant money and applying for
the
grants.
town do
That's-
have a grant person.
We have a grant person, but I mean, they usually, it's, from my understanding is, you know, the grant person usually goes, I don't think we ever ask for grants for this. I'll be happy to ask. Dennis probably might know more than anybody else. And he's the right person to ask, you know, what they did in the past, because I don't know, I don't want to give a wrong answer. But now, I think if you can get some of the information, maybe from Medway, from, you said Rentham.
Yeah,
And then, you know, I think we can reach out and then find out how they did it. And,
Yeah, I think so, sorry to interrupt, I
Yeah.
think someone who's invested in that, like a rec director. And knows that and
Yeah.
meets with other people of that similar ilk will say, hey, we got this grant, you should try, apply for it too. That's how you find out about it.
Yeah.
Us here are not gonna probably find that grant, but people, or know about it, cause it's not even on our radar at this point.
yeah, I mean, it's definitely, and it's, Is Dennis is on the,
Yeah, he is. I don't
Yes.
know if he,
Yeah, in my industry, I'm an environmental consultant and I work for an engineering firm, so I've done like grants before, but
Yeah.
not. I don't think any of these specifically, but I've done like the Clean Water Infrastructure Act, and I think,
this is a little more different than I mean, is it?
well, Clean Water Infrastructure Act
Yeah,
is related. to- I made a list though of some grants, but obviously it's not complete, it's always ongoing,
Right.
it's always stuff's falling, it's done.
I mean, it's, I think we're on the right track, you know, so if we can figure out, like you said, if somebody might know, I know, we have a person, you know, that writes all the grants, but you know, it's, I don't know if we even looked into this.
Yeah, it's.
Maybe we did, I'm not sure, you know, it's,
I didn't know we even had a grant person,
I mean, they do, it's,
the consulting.
yeah, it's,
You'd have to probably get a consultant to, like, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, one grant application takes a fair amount of time. That's what I mean. You need, like, on the grants, you need someone dedicated to hunting them down and then doing all the applications. And then if DPW helps with it, they help with their piece, or if you help
I was
with
gonna
your
say that
piece.
each department they do, but
They do their
something
piece.
different, you know, it's, so this might be something, you know. Maybe park and rec, you know, it's conservation, you know, it should be something connected. As I said, I don't know the answer, I can find out. That's why, you know, it's obviously we getting all this information, and it's, there are definitely stuff out there.
Yeah, it
Every
just,
day you find something about it, I mean, as we were talking about it earlier for different subject. And then, one of our board members found out about it, there was a grant out there available.
Yeah.
And, so there is stuff out there, just.
it seems like we're pointing in that direction though, like
Yeah.
someone with an expertise
Yeah.
in parks and recreation, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I hope that comes out of this, because I think it would make your job much easier, right? If you had a point person that you could work with that organized that piece to it, and we could run programming.
And that's what we did
Yeah.
in Medway. That's what I did with the Parks and Rec, Julie
Yeah.
Harrington, she was Harrington,
Yeah.
coincidentally, but. She was the Park and Rec director, and we would go to the Parks Commission meetings and deal with all field stuff and DPW related, but her and I, along with other people in the DPW, but, we did a lot of work together on special projects, and various things, like the pumpkin walk, for example, that goes
Yeah.
on there. That was like days of setting up and planning and get this and get that, with DPW help and with Julie and other, whatever was needed, but she would be like the point on, I need this, I need that over there, and so, yeah.
You know, what's another really effective way of raising money? It's a raffle. So, we can always do a raffle if we have projects.
A weekly raffle. For each
Well,
of
yeah.
them.
You know, like,
Yeah.
Is anyone here familiar with Adams Meadow in Medway?
Yeah.
So they did a new trail there. Did you see
Yeah.
the new trail? That, I believe, was done with grant money that the conservation, do you know Bridget Graziano by any chance? She's the conservation agent in Medway. I believe she was the one, there was grant money involved to do that.
Is it on the other side of Medway High?
So the backside of Medway.
Yeah, yeah, I
on
walked
Adams
that
Street.
before.
Yeah,
Great,
well, there's a
and it
new,
connects
yeah.
to Choke.
Yes,
Yeah.
but there's a new trail now, it's handicap accessible, handicap parking.
Yeah.
That was done, I believe, with a fair amount of grant money.
But as I said, I really, you know, I cannot thank each one of you. And I'm glad, you know, the Henna took the initiative on this project, you know, it's too much for one person,
Yeah.
or one department. I think we get in there, you know, it's just to put the ideas, put the pieces together, and then, you know, it's I think we're on the right track. Thank you.
Oh, Dennis is raising his hand. Should I let him speak?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He's the man who has a.
Gonna say something smarter than me.
Yeah, thank you. It comes back to the Community Preservation Act, really, for a lot of these things. Communities around us have adopted that. Bellingham never did.
Yeah.
And that's, $300,000-$400,000 a year that they have for open space, for parks. That's how Medway did Choke Park. So those are definitely projects that could be undertaken, but it's all about, the financials associated with it. We did get grant funds to build. That's how we built Blackstone Street Fields. Those fields weren't there. We got urban self-help grants to do both of those fields. That program doesn't exist anymore. That's how we purchased Silver Lake, was with grant funds. That was a $750,000 purchase back in the early 90s. So, you know, we've been successful at times, but there's a lot more that could be done. But you know, it's the cost of doing business. But unfortunately, one of the things when I was looking at those pictures, we need to know when things are broken, like those bleachers there at the high school. That's just embarrassing. Those wooden bleachers. Someone needs to let us know. You know, we got to get things like that fixed. Somebody's going to get hurt. So whether it's DPW, whether it's Parks and Rec, when they're out there in the summertime maintaining fields, so that's part of it. And that's something I have to look into along with Sean. One of the things we are going to be having is a working foreman in the DPW starting in the next few months that will be assigned to parks in the summertime. So it'll be somebody that, you know, Roland Arcan did it for 30 or 40 years. And when he passed on, no one really picked up the torch. We've got a good group of people, but basically what they do is they cut grass and do basic maintenance. But there needs to be some supervision out there. So I think you're you know, the conversation's been excellent. I think a big part of it is funding some of these things. And Sean, I think once we have that working foreman position in, I know they would be reporting to you. That's somebody that's gonna alert us to some of these things that need to be fixed right away. Because, you know, if it's not brought to our attention, it's not going to get done.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Dennis, I appreciate it, you know, your knowledge, as I said, you know, someone, you are the man, you know, has all the answers, you know, and I'm always grateful for it.
Yeah, I wish I had more answers for all the things that we need to do with the parks. But I think there's some good things happening, but I think there's a lot more that needs to get done. And I don't disagree with the idea of getting a Parks Commission, you know, involved to help bring things to the forefront. So we're all kind of working towards, you know, getting some of these things accomplished. So the next time we have an open space plan, we have more accomplishments. We have some things that we pointed to, like the SNET trail, which is great, and you know, the handicap playground. But if we're not taking care of the things that we have, you know, it kind of detracts from the whole mission.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think like in terms of, because I'm like looking at time and I want to do math and get us out of here by 8. If people could just like in their own time look at this and like I don't have all encompassing knowledge on this kind of stuff. So like I was hoping at least for like who's involved, if you feel like your like select board would be involved in these things, and I just don't know everything that select board does. Like if you could add yourself to that,
Yep.
or like Chad, you know, when a lot of school board or the school in general would be involved with certain things, like if you could add that.
Yeah.
That would be really useful, and I'm hoping you'll want to work on the conservation stuff with me. I don't know why I found that the most challenging, even though that's my topic.
So much. of it.
Because there's too much,
And
that's the
like,
problem.
Yes.
It's mostly what the plan is about.
Right.
A portion of it, but it's like all encompassing, it's like planning and conservation.
Right.
Also, related to that, I was thinking the folder that we have is starting to get a little cluttered,
Yeah.
and that we might want to organize it into subfolders of like existing stuff, things we're working on maybe. And then I was also thinking, would it help if there was something in there, like a document, or like, can we do a calendar folder, like a group calendar where we can say like, if we want to talk about something or like what we worked on, and like we wanted to bring something up at the next meeting. And then
Yeah.
put it on the agenda.
I don't have a formal agenda, so yeah, I'm totally cool with that kind of thing.
I mean,
We should.
I don't want to add burden to the open meeting law.
I don't,
So maybe we can just post a link to the folder,
yeah, I'm totally open to that.
as long as, can we like save things here?
In the Google Drive,
Yeah,
it's only the people right here.
okay, but they can view it.
If they have a link. I guess.
So if you
Yeah.
have a link online.
We could, do we wanna do that? A lot of it is just me rough drafting a lot of stuff. But
I
I'm,
definitely have used some words a little harsher than I want people in the public to read.
yeah. Actually, that's one thing we have to do is we have to have a public forum. Once we have like a formal draft of this, we have to share it with the public so they can put comments in, but that's another thing.
I think they probably need like, what, 30 days? Online?
To comment, yeah, probably. I have to look. You mean, you don't want me to poke them every week?
I'm sure than the other one. They were
Um,
like, everything's fine, nothing to see here.
yeah, true. Okay, maps. David, why don't you show us some maps? Show us some maps.
I got one map
Here's a map.
and at least starting to think about the design for 11 by 17s.
So that's the size
This-
of the map
That's this
that
one right here.
goes,
Yes.
Yeah.
it goes, in the actual physical book.
Right.
I guess also the PDF.
You know, a large size map, so it's still the thing, and I've got the parcel and the address. From the sister building, and tip of the table wasn't working right, so.
Well, this might be boring for people on Zoom.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that list I sent you was printed out.
So,
The list that was on here.
Leslie, you are
Yeah.
Yeah. right. Isn't it right here? That says zero mechanic, isn't it? Yeah, we're right here.
Yeah, that
right?
was from the assessor data.
Oh, okay, okay. So. You're saying all these chunks are town owned, but they're vacant, they're not labeled as.
Right.
Open space or. Okay,
Yeah, some of this data came from the state. That was all this that they were protected by level.
yeah,
So
so,
that's what weird colors outside of town.
for people who don't know, open space can be, protected at different levels. In perpetuity, it's just like forever protected, limited, I think it's about timeline, I thought. Like it could be,
I think that's
Undone.
It's 61.
oh, chapter 61 A and
Yeah,
B.
so like it's like
Oh, term,
protected
yeah.
until they, like
decide
they,
not to.
they can choose to like develop part of it. They have to pay additional taxes if they do that, but they can choose to do it. So it's like a limited protection.
And
There's
then,
some tiny slivers around town too, that need to be checked in.
okay, so,
So which parcels, are there any that you added from, like, compared to the mass DP? or-
Okay.
The
big
town ones are the main colored ones.
Those are the big.
basically ignore
And the
these,
conservation-
these are
anything
private
with a
property
number on-
ones.
Yeah, anything with a number, that's the school.
Yeah,
Oh, that's around,
this is
So,
chapter
wait,
61B,
five.
Wagner.
oh, Wengers.
So
No,
maybe
Wengers.
wrong then, 'cause it's green. I guess that's
Yeah, that's this,
chapter 6.
I got them closed on.
Well, I'm wondering if you just,
Those colors.
yeah, I don't know about this.
So these are,
Yeah, the
Town
town
owns.
ones will have the lot, map them out.
but
these
they're
ones right here,
vacant,
right?
what's vacant, what do you mean?
Is this one
Vacant.
same? Is this one same?
Yeah, these are all mapping.
So these one, what do you mean by vacant? If it's,
It's town owned, but it's
Just
vacant.
empty lots.
it's just an
Right.
empty
Yeah,
lot,
until I hear.
so we don't, so this right here is just like an empty.
Yep.
Oh,
And then these are trying to be more conservation. That's what the land use codes.
Yeah,
Betsy gave me.
But there's wetlands on this one, so I feel like that is probably conservation.
yeah, so I've talked to
That's what
Betsy
you
about
want to
this,
know.
it's kind of blurry because sometimes even though we'll put in an order of conditions that they donate. In the actual deed, sometimes they just write town building in. And then we don't officially get rights to it as Concom.
Classic.
So
Because that's a couple of projects going in right around here, right?
85 Mendon and 59, 57 Mendon. One of them's Bluebird and then the other one I can't. I don't know.
Yeah,
what
this
the
one,
planning board-
yeah, that's, yeah, so this, and it's,
Oh.
I think there was some, that's a small warehouse, not the warehouse, I mean, that's a storage and,
Yeah, there are some small.
yeah, small, right?
commercial back
Okay,
here.
yeah,
I
okay.
mean, William Way, yeah.
Yeah, right here, I'm sorry, yeah, that's what I meant, yeah.
I wonder if though, if this is where the solar farm is now
It-
too. There's a big solar farm now.
From what. I
Or
like,
maybe
sounds
it's
like
right
it's not.
here.
I think it might be next to it because some of the calls I got this winter about hunting was people will go out here and there's like a big utility electric, isn't there? That runs right through the,
It's runs cut through there, yeah.
It
Yeah,
does.
right there, yeah.
oh, it goes this
Yep,
way.
yep.
Okay,
It's up and on.
so I know that people go out here to hunt. That's like our biggest.
I thought there wasn't, no hunting allowed in the town properties. Am I right?
I'm
That was the
working
big-
on-
am I right?
We
In the
have-
back?
They really.
We have this like.
I know, it's,
Wait,
we had this
did we
conversation in the
change
past, am I right?
Putting
That change
in a
was 15
warrant
years
to
ago,
be
right?
more clear. I've been
15,
through
16 years ago?
Maps, literally, like, there's
It's
10
not
properties
posted.
where you could follow
Okay,
state
yeah.
law
So-
and hunt here, so I'm like, maybe.
I don't wanna get into
Yeah, yeah, I know, we discussed it in the past, I remember that, yeah. Yeah, because it wasn't always like that, and choose, yeah, yeah.
They would put there
Yeah.
instead of just anywhere.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I actually
Within
live
the
right
500.
here and I've gone
Yeah.
up through here.
Yeah.
There's a ridiculous amount of open, there's
like,
all
you
sorts of
don't
stuff
really
up there.
want-
People on dirt bikes,
Yeah.
people
Right.
hunting,
Yeah,
there's
they don't
definitely
have-
hunting
They
up
don't
there.
have 500 feet, isn't that your war?
Yeah, these are wells.
Yeah,
These are.
But-
you don't want anybody else.
Well,
So Saddleback Hill is actually a perfect example where there's very clear trails
That's.
in that property, very clear, like
Yes,
I've drawn them
100%.
out, and I
that's
actually
that
said
one
to
you
you.
gave me.
My dog, I
That's the-
took my
put
dog.
that in.
Yep. And there's signage that says no motorized vehicles or something right at the end here that goes into this.
Oh, okay,
If we even have a place.
And from Pete's Bluebird is right here.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, right.
somewhere around here.
Yeah, so you come up here, there's a trail that goes all the way down there. I think it used to be a railroad, I think.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
it's elevated.
Oh, I think the Pete's Bluebird is right here.
Yeah, so there's an elevated part that's definitely used to be a
Yeah,
railroad.
that's actually,
Yeah.
yeah, I think Pete's Bluebird is right here.
Yeah.
Because that's the Williams Way. that was-
So this is all town owned through here?
Yeah,
yeah,
Huh?
but it's not protected anyway, it's not like, if there was a reason the town would want to sell, they could, technically.
And it has access to North Road, North Street on this side, right through there.
yeah,
There's a trail that goes all the way down through it.
Yep.
Yeah,
because that
and
actually.
there's a
that's-
gate, it's a gate at it too, at the end of this. That goes from North Street onto that trail.
What's this lot right here?
It's actually a great, the whole,
Oh, that's the,
it'd be a really great open
It's
space.
all charter walls. isn't it?
that's the right of way for, stormwater.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
Lake Hiawatha, they're trying to.
Yeah, that's right next to the old charter wall,
It's
isn't it?
down
Does it
in-
go directly to the lake or something?
No, it goes to, catch basin system.
Oh, yeah, that's on the other side of the lake,
Yeah.
right on the Blackstone line. It's,
It comes from the top
after
down.
the,
There's riprap and.
after the, that's a small, the Lake Hiawatha beaches. Isn't it?
Right,
Right.
yeah.
I used to live
It's over
right here.
that area.
I used to own this property right here.
No, so.
Hmm.
So like, it's just like sheep flow, like,
Huh, interesting.
when you get 7 inches of rain, you know, of course, water's gonna be coming out of
Right.
every orifice in there.
I was looking at this earlier today, and I'm pretty sure this is labeled as DPW.
It could be.
Says 0 Lake Street.
Oh, that's, the wells.
Oh, it's just not circular,
Two
so I
wells
wasn't
there.
sure.
These two are circular, so they're probably
Oh,
well. next to
wait,
their-
no, it's Lake Street? The well, this
Yeah.
well
Yeah,
across.
because it's on the back. Yeah,
Where do
the
most of
roads come.
Off Franklin Street.
I know a lot of people walk this, because this was also one of those hunting things. I don't know if there's trails, but I know people go back
There
there
are
a
some
lot.
trails.
Okay.
They run, you got the gas line up here and then there's a
Oh,
trail
so
up
they
here and
follow it?
goes up there. Yep,
Ah,
That's close to your,
yeah,
Nicholas,
but
right?
there's a guy here that owns.
Oh, right here, yeah, that was in
Land here,
there,
too.
yeah.
But that's the access right there.
nice net trail.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we,
And this. They're not connected.
the swamp.
Oh, they ended the road.
Oh, the road, the actual road itself.
That's the Center Street, that's,
That's parcel based.
Yeah.
They
Ends
have
at
like
the
a
right of
crosswalk
ways.
or anything there, like a.
Yeah, they got
that's,
lights.
that's
flashing
flashing lights, yeah.
Actually, there's no, one of my senior work off volunteers. There's no flashing lights at this one.
No, but they should
correct.
be.
She was, yeah, she was saying.
Yeah,
there
because
should
you
be
come
one.
around the
Yeah.
curve.
It's
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah.
And there was actually kind of band over there too, so if you're coming from this direction, you don't see anybody. And then you
Right.
see it from here, but
You
when you
see
come from this,
cars.
yeah,
But-
Well, you get
and then
people
there's
riding
one
bikes and
side,
they-
I think.
Don't like
Yeah.
to stop either and they come right out.
Yeah,
Yeah, that would be nice.
Or DCR.
maybe we might able to add that on our list. Another one,
Flashing pedestrian right there,
Yeah.
is that at Lake Street?
Lake
yeah, right
Street.
on Lake Street.
oh, High Street, where's that parcel, is it this? That's not Fields. I think
No,
that's
the fields are
conservation.
huge.
Yeah, that's conservation.
This is conservation.
Yeah.
Okay, so the fields were, oh yeah, that's right, Fifth Ave, that's right. Okay.
That's all Charles River, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
all the way up
Yeah,
here.
that's the bridge, isn't it? Is the
Yes.
bridge right here?
Is this the Franklin Forest?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I know, there's not,
Guys, everyone go right there and enjoy recreation. You have no space. Thank you.
The other subdivision, you're gonna come in here.
hey
The
now,
Prospect Heights.
hey now.
That's all,
Prospect Heights is all coming.
that's all the wetland right
Not
now.
me.
You
Up
wishing
here.
it in there?
Took your
Lake
aim.
Street. That's the Prospect, isn't it, right here?
Right.
It's technically right here, right north of our
Right in
Churchill.
here.
Hey, right here, let's see, next picture, there's actual station grant.
Brand new houses right here.
That's the one they just did the culvert right here.
Yeah.
It's right, it's
Yeah, they
right
did
there,
the
right?
culvert.
Yeah. The one
And
was
then
collapsed.
now this floods all down
Yeah,
to-
that's exactly where it is, right here.
Okay, well, now that we've all found everything on the map. I think,
Is this, are you gonna put stone line?
We can,
I think.
we clean it up even though.
it is in the Google Drive right now,
Yeah.
if you wanna just look at it.
That's nice.
There's just the blank
Yeah.
templates
I have
that
a
she
version of
did
this.
for
I mean,
The small
Other-
one,
Yeah.
or same size.
the layout
Yeah.
itself.
whatever is easier.
Just send it right out.
Huh?
Put up in your living room, frame it.
No, I'm actually gonna use it for, I'm just wrapping my brain, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Where
Yeah,
things
just
are.
my wheels are turning, yeah.
Yeah, it's harder to look at on the drive, like
Yeah.
you can see it, but
This is-
you're
no.
scanning around, it's nice to have a big.
Huh?
You want to just
You
take
can
that
have
one?
less.
Can I?
Yeah.
Oh, I would
I'll
love
take
to.
the list. of it.
Yeah.
'Cause
I mean, if it's not too much work for you, you know?
How do you, I don't know anything about this. How do I find this on here? Is there like markers?
Parcels, yeah.
I would
you
look
see?
here
Yeah.
first, and then these are
Well,
probably in
if
order.
you know the town. and then-
Yeah, I know.
You know, zero
I've been here
height,
20
is that
years,
right?
so I don't really
Oh,
actually.
yeah, so this one is right here, that's Williams Way.
So you actually have to find this and then come
Yeah.
on here, is everything? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
not sorted.
Yeah,
I
okay.
just did a
It's
straight.
not
fine.
so-
I did a straight list.
Did you send me this? It's a list.
Because when I saw
I
the,
sent this to
You
you.
sent it to as an email. I did not share this list. Yep. you can.
Cause I had 76 and you just something larger, but then I cross-referenced your blue ones,
Yeah,
DPW/others, and it was close to my list. I'm like, okay.
yeah, so I don't know what those extras, yeah, that was what I was talking about, how there's extra labeled town of Bellingham parcels that I don't
You had
know.
169.
Yeah, 169 parcels that are labeled as
And
town.
I had about 76 or so.
Have you mapped them out?
Yeah, yeah, I can actually share that. I have that right here, actually. I'll show you. It's not GIS, I mean, I guess it is GIS map, but it's not,
Like drawn?
no, it's just points instead of,
Get it some. Yeah, you know.
because this is how the town spelling the
I don't think
website,
this is actually-
GIS page is. It's access to.
What's that?
I don't think this well eventually built.
Anyways,
It's on the assessor maps.
all of these
Dalton Street.
are
This
these,
is
Well,
well
five.
five
Oh,
right
that's
here.
so I went
old
through
one there?
all the
The
green,
railroad comes
our
up.
conservation,
I thought there was an old one.
It could be an old.
Didn't roll the.
dark blue,
Maybe.
DPW, like,
Is that
no,
what this means?
like
on
it's
that?
labeled
Circle
as
like
that. And then light blue was water department, which I was like, I'm pretty sure that's also DPW. But
On the
Oh,
assessors.
yeah.
so I don't know what all these blank ones
I
are,
don't know. Should be about.
so. There was one labeled as
Why it's
select
not,
board,
I don't see the value over here, that's 8, isn't it? It's
so,
not listed back over here.
yeah,
Oh,
I think the difference between his list and mine
Yeah,
is
that's
that
an
his
eight.
based on a LUC.
Oh, you
code.
want
It's up here.
Mine was
So yeah,
based on
sir,
a
half a
restricted
circle.
site
Right.
citation,
Oh, yeah, this
and they
super
all
one.
said-
Oh, right there, yeah, just over
Blending
there, yeah,
in.
okay.
So.
Good info.
You could look at this for a long time though.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean?
I've been looking at it for a while.
I know. Why looking at it? Trying to find things.
Well, the other thing is I got this thing that you had wet
Bill there.
there, and I didn't make it a pad.
Oh,
That was
the
on
action plan?
Spreadsheet where, yeah.
I mean, that's what we're trying to do here.
We
We're trying to
wanted
update.
to
it.
know
Yeah,
what
some of
I
things
can
are-
look
Well, at least
at.
they threw in a pattern that was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're right.
It's under,
The swamp right there, that's why it's blending up here,
this one,
because that's the,
Right.
and you know what?
It's green.
We had this labeled as view only, so no one would mess up the responses, so I might just like download a copy of the last sheet.
because these are.
It's under the Google Drive, under survey responses,
yeah.
but I might just
One feet,
specifically
I think that space is less than
this
20
last
feet,
one,
but that's,
download the sheet and share it.
that's actually, I had
because-
some
Or,
conversations in the past too, because 495 is
Drive, that's a mess.
probably mid-80s, somewhere
Because
around
I
there.
can't like I don't wanna
That's
have
what
everyone
Bill-
edit
My
on.
mother-in-law was actually on that,
In case responses get.
committee back in the days when Russia was in
Into
the
the
state.
final plan.
I
But-
gotcha.
So this is.
Yeah, this is basically a lot of what you need to kind of go through and like what's doable, what's not. Are they partially doable
That's all.
in 5 years, you
That's,
know?
That's all the.
I think some of it, I mean, when you.
I mean,
talk
we're
about
engineers.
the mall, I mean, that would be a capital request. I
For the-
mean, that's.
Yeah.
These are-
Nailing down a location.
Yeah.
And then something like that would, unless there's grant money that could be, but it could be capital or.
This is all
unless it's a
Oxford?
grant,
This is not
something
town over
like
here?
that.
Yeah, it's all, I mean,
Possible.
in the
Yeah,
town.
there's
where we have
maybe,
these,
right.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
that sort of
So
thing.
that's town.
Yeah,
I don't know if you
but
wanted
it's
to.
in the center of the parcel. so
Yeah.
it's-
Yeah, like-
That's the power plant.
Yeah.
On the other side of this.
Yeah.
Plant, yeah, okay.
A lot of them are like links to websites, but I tried
That's
to
the power
categorize
plant. So
them
that's-
to,
Where did
like,
you, was it under this?
yeah.
And that's the
No,
power
no,
plant.
Oh, I see.
The golf
Okay.
course.
She just went down a
I
rabbit
haven't been
hole.
into
I
this.
was like,
Yeah, I haven't been into the school drive.
Resources, is Steve? still
What's in the one that
there?
up to the Hartford Avenue, it's right at the.
he is, he just.
Oh.
Is that what we're looking at?
yeah.
I know, well, I
That's
was
right here,
like,
isn't it?
he seemed like he wasn't very confident about the history section, which I tried to say in the.
Oh, nice.
I was thinking about
Maybe
maybe.
it's right, is that it?
Here,
Funding sources, yeah.
Yeah, here's the cemetery.
So it's the
we're
same,
waiting
so the
here,
power line's right here. Going all the way to the.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah, I know.
It's probably somewhere. I'm surprised it doesn't show it, right?
Yeah, I don't have all the parcels on here.
Oh, okay.
I need to add that later. as well.
Yeah, I saw like you're updating. that.
He's like.
Access all the way from here, all the way down to the
Yeah.
Maple Street,
My
isn't
family
it?
was
Okay.
like- And I was laughing.
I mean, up for public
You
use
use probably
renovation.
solar now.
How do you, the.
It just lines up right for there, from
We
here,
have to
right?
bring it to town
From here all the way down to the
Meeting.
Hartford Ave. That-
and they have to vote on it.
To become,
Technically, we actually, no, we have to bring it to select board first. They vote on it. And
So you
then,
approvals before going to town meeting, and then what would that do?
Okay, I'll take this on the record, under that.
so I'm not really sure.
you'll be printing that to the fridge.
Huh?
Putting that on the
In
fridge.
terms of like with the actual community.
It's gonna be-
kind of
Get it right on the wall.
They are reading about what they do and it's like. Based
Wife
on
is
your
gonna kill me.
property.
Yeah, she is.
So based on everyone's like property value.
Bringing your homework, your work home with you.
1.5%.
It's going
minus
down to
the
the back,
first
it's close to the
quarter
garage.
account. And
Goes
then,
into this,
This is. This
and
is
then
what
they-
we're-
they also do like grants and other fundraising.
Oh,
too.
that's the,
this is if we were to, vote yes for the CPA, what it would be.
I saw it on the Mass Mapper site, there were like 2 projects listed in Bellingham or the CPA thing, but one was in Randolph.
Mhm.
And it was just like in Bellingham for some reason, and the
Weird.
other one was like on the line.
Huh, so probably Franklin.
Yeah, or I think Mendon.
Oh.
So if you do 1.5, okay, listeners, if you do 1.5 or 1. That's what we're gonna be. Isn't that was the chart with the, how much Franklin got, isn't that?
What, this part right here? This, the Charles River Watershed Association put this together saying if Bellingham was going to adopt
Yeah.
it, this is what it would be.
So basically, we end up, if we do 1%, we're gonna get 450.
So that would be a tax,
Yeah.
additional tax that's levied on
Yeah.
property. And then that would be like our fund.
Yeah.
To do stuff, and I think, I mean, you could use like 450 per year, I guess, right? Is that after a year?
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Or you could, I think you could like wait 2 years.
And let it rolls over, like,
Yeah.
basically.
I think so.
So it's
I
gonna be
I read
additional.
like 10 minutes today.
Yeah.
That's all I know, like, don't like.
Yeah,
vote
yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
No, I got you, yeah, yeah.
So the town has to vote or the select? board?
That's, it's gonna go to town vote. Has to go
But
to
it's
town
But
vote.
select
that
board
doesn't
has to vote on it first.
Yeah.
That doesn't include
So-
state matching, it says down the bottom.
You have to propose it.
That's just the revenue from the town, that's not the match. Right?
I think so.
Yeah, because it says CPA, not match.
So then you would have like
See, it's
800.
state match, okay, it doesn't.
Covered quite a bit tonight.
Yeah, Dylan's here because I also told him, through discussion about open space, a big thing in the past couple years to maybe a decade has been a lot of research about, health in relation to environment and not just physical health, but mental health as well. And so, he's not like formally in the action plan yet, but we want to add that into it. So I don't know if you want to just say just a little bit.
I can come up real quick. So I apologize. I meant to Hannah did reach out to me about it and I meant to get something in writing, but it's been such a busy week. I didn't get the chance to. I did get the chance to send her over a few links from a couple resources that I really like. It's from, I believe it's the New England Medical Journal or something like that. Regardless, it's a good source. I use them whenever I wrote papers in school, so I know it's a trusted source, and they provide a lot of information, like, kind of exactly what Hannah's talking about the importance of open space in the relation to mental health. You know, there's a lot of anxiety reduction, there's a lot of depression reduction, and a lot of these, you know, negative mental health kind of outlooks that we've been seeing in the rise, especially since the pandemic. There is science proven that open space has a directly positive effect on those specific conditions. So, I mean, I'm all for this. I think it's gonna do nothing except improve the health and welfare of the townspeople, and I'm more than willing to do whatever I need to do to support, you know, this going forward, so. That's pretty much it. I mean, if you guys want, I can also, you know, I'd be more than willing to dive deeper a little bit into those links that I shared and kind of provide a little bit more information as to the connections between, you know, the mental health side of things and open space. That's something that I'd be more than happy to do, if you guys are interested, but, yeah, I think that's pretty much it, so.
Boston, you know, implemented this with their open space by making sure that every home within the Boston limits, they can reach some kind of park within a 10-minute walk. And not only does that create equity, amongst all the people that live there, but also, giving people opportunity to be in open space and improve their mental health as well, so.
Definitely, and I think the last thing I will share is just, I know I've only been here since September and there's been so much talk about land development, and I think it's important especially to throw this in here so that we emphasize the fact that we're not just throwing housing in, we're throwing in these open spaces for this new influx of housing. So all these people don't come in and it's just like there's no infrastructure. Like, no, there's parks there for them, for new kids to play at, you know, the people are gonna enjoy the town and it's just gonna make everyone. I don't really see a lot of negatives here, essentially, is what I'm trying to say. It only really is gonna result in positive effects, in my opinion, so.
Yeah.
That's about
I
it.
think it's great, you know, some more information needs to be put together, as I said, we brainstorm it here. I mean, it's some of the decisions that we're making here, it's gonna affect the future of the town we love, and then, you know, it's our community we love. And all the decisions that we're making, it's just gonna be, we planning, not just 3 to 5 years, we planning for 10, 20 years down the road, what it's gonna be, that's what we're trying to do here. And I think it's great, more information, I think the more the merrier.
Definitely.
And
Yes,
also to, kick off, one of the points you made, I was also reading a couple of days ago about implementing open space within a development. So like, I know it might not be possible. If the project that we had been talking about earlier,
Yeah.
maybe it is. And maybe it's something that we could require, they have to have like garden in between the houses or someplace.
Definitely. I know what the newest
Yeah.
apartments that just went up, the Curtis, I know that there's a couple green spaces. I've gone over there just to do all sorts of different inspections, and I mean, their campus is beautiful.
Yeah.
It reminds me honestly of like a college campus, like, you're kind of walking from dorm to dorm and there's a beautiful greenery in the center and there's a place where there's a specific spot where people could bring their dogs. Like, these are all really good things that I think would just benefit everybody, so.
I mean, proper planning is definitely makes a huge difference, that's something, we can definitely look into it, I mean, why don't you, even the place you work or the place you live, in a couple minutes walk, and then, you go out there and then, find a nice serenity,
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's between all the hustle and bustle,
And that would be a way for like the whole community to like collectively help maintain those spaces, because it would be owned by them, and maintain them. And not DPW.
A lot of people like the community garden, which is not part of open space at all, but I've heard a lot about it. Well, they came to our Concom
Maybe
meeting.
that's an acquisition.
Yeah. Yeah, so I even put in the acquisition, like making better negotiations with developers about the type of open space they're donating, reviewing and potentially improving current standards. So I think that kind of borders with what you're saying too. Did I put borders? No, I put you under ADA, but I'm
Yeah.
gonna add you here.
Yeah, throw me on whatever. I'm in.
Like, you didn't have enough on your plate, way to go, kid.
Oh, yeah, hey, throw it on.
You're gonna read the mental health section of the open space plan, right?
Okay, I got that, easy, easy.
Right?
It's already, I have that in my office right now, what do you
You
mean?
just go get my flash.
Yeah, of
I
course.
said that, it's obviously, I know Dylan, it's over the years, I always get excited, when you see it, the kid who grew up around, Bellingham, and then, coming back, after he finishes education, and then he wanted to just come back and help his community,
Yeah.
I appreciate that, thank you very much, Mr. Steen.
Absolutely.
Of course. I'm gonna head out, you guys have a great rest of your night, okay?
Yeah,
You.
thanks.
Thank you.
Who wants to end the meeting? I think we've hit the time.
Motion to, end the meeting in a positive note, and then, and then get ready for the next one.
Yeah. Second. All right, great.
All in favor?
Aye. All right. Thanks, everybody.